That was one of the best WWDC keynotes in a while. We got a lot to talk about in this video, guys. And, oh yeah, dark mode is finally here. 4 years. That keynote was rather long, but I'm not complaining. There was a lot of detail in that keynote. And I'm really excited for iOS 13. And I'm probably going to be beta testing it when it gets released to the public during the summer. And I'm back. It's been like 3 months. I'm sorry I've been away. But I've had a lot of work, whatever. But I'm back now. Be making videos as often as I can again. And alright, now let's actually get into this video on WWDC. The first announcement in the keynote was the tvOS updates. So first, they announced that they redesigned the home screen for the Apple TV. And shortly after that, they said they added multi-user support to the Apple TV, which is great. A lot of people were anticipating that and wanted that. And another big one is that you don't have to go out and buy like those SteelSeries or whatever like controllers for your Apple TV if you want to play games on it now, because Apple released that you can actually use Xbox One and PS4 controllers with the Apple TV, which is great. So you don't have to spend what, $50 on another controller. Like almost everyone has like at least an Xbox or a PS4 if you're into gaming, so that's always good. Next up was the watchOS. So first off, they released a whole ton of new watch faces, which happens every year. They're always releasing new watch faces. Some of them look nice. There was a solar watch face, which looked really nice. I'm going to be looking at that one when the update comes. And also for the watch, they released a whole ton of new bands, and they said summer color band, so that's always good. There's also a new health feature. It basically detects the amount of noise in the room to see if it's like damaging to your ears. It like measures the amount of decibels in the room, and it tells you if it's too loud, say on your watch here. Obviously I don't have it because it's not out yet, but it's cool to have, but it's good to know if your ears are getting like damaged or anything. But I'm pretty sure people's ears are just getting damaged from wearing AirPods too much or just wearing headphones in general. Talking about AirPods, for the ultimate flex, like already having AirPods is a flex. Like, so you see someone walking down the street with AirPods, they're like, oh, they're rich, yeah. Your Memoji can wear AirPods now. So if you want to flex in the real world and in the Messages app, just pull out your Memoji and be like, hey, what's up, look at this, I got the AirPods, oh my god. It's useless. It's completely useless. I don't know why. Alright. Next scene. Put AirPods on the thing. Alright, back to watchOS. So now the watch has a standalone app store, so you can like download apps from your watch. And oh yeah, new app. We finally get a calculator for the Apple Watch. I feel like in the keynote, people cheered so loud for that. It was just unreasonable. I mean, I cheered a little bit too when I saw it said, oh, look, calculator on the Apple Watch, cool. But so it was a little bit ridiculous. A little bit. When are we gonna get a calculator app on the iPad? Apple? Come on now. Really? One more thing for watchOS, which I found really interesting and also slightly dumb. You know, on your G-Shocks, they used to do that little beep beep like every hour or so. They're adding that to the Apple Watch. So it's just gonna give you a little taptic feedback with the hour, like it hits like 11 o'clock or something. And there's also a sound that goes along with it if you have it like not on silent. It's birds chirping.
And when enabled, on the hour, you'll feel a silent taptic on your wrist, and if sound is on, you'll hear an audible chime, like this.
I thought it was a joke in the keynote because it sounded so bad. Who wants birds chirping on wrist every hour. Someone be like, oh wait, where's the birds? We're inside. No, it was bad. So I'm keeping my watch on silent from now on. I can imagine that in the middle of a test, there's some birds chirping. You're like, what the heck? And finally, iOS 13. I know, right? The names can't get any more predictable at this point. Wonder, 100 years from now, iOS 113, whatever. But they finally did it. They finally released dark mode for iOS. It only took them a couple of years after Android. Android's had it all the way back to too many. But it's system-wide. I'll put some pictures here if I can find from the keynote. It looked really nice. Maps will no longer burn your eyes at night if you're driving, whatever, or Messages app will no longer burn your eyes at night if you're texting at night. But it looks really nice. Most of the people, including me, like dark mode all the time, every day. Bye-bye light mode or whatever the normal iOS is. Dark mode is here. Dark mode's here to stay. Now with other things to iOS 13, Face ID on iPhone 10, all the iPhone 10 series, it's going to be 30% faster, which is great. Always speed is great. Apps are going to open 2 times faster apparently, so no more waiting for apps to load, I guess. Like, it's already fast, but I guess, hey, make it faster, right? And app downloads, they decrease in size by 50%, and app updates decrease in size by 60%. Another quick thing for iOS 13 is you're now able to type by swiping on the keyboard. I know that's been a feature of Android for forever, but hey, that's what Apple does sometimes, right? It takes Android stuff, wait for them to get all the bugs out, and just do it better, right? A couple years later. Just kidding, but yeah, they have like a swipe. I forgot. I think they called it something, but basically it's just like the Android one where you just swipe on the keyboard and type like that. I don't use it usually. I'll just type normally, but hey, for you guys that like that, it's now a feature. You don't have to get another keyboard on your iPhone for that. The Photos app got a pretty big update in iOS 13 also. They have your regular camera roll, then they added, I think, weeks, months, years. They basically split it up into, like I said, months, weeks, months, years. So you can see what you did over the last week, over the last couple of months, and even the last year. They give you different, cover photos of, trips you took that year or whatever. It's actually pretty cool. I'm going to be checking it out. It looks much better than the regular Photos app right now. Back to the Memoji stuff. You now have Memoji stickers, so you can take stickers of your face, and it kind of makes it into a little emoji, the emoji where it's mind blown or whatever. They have one of those. You can make your own stickers, so you can make your own little personalized emojis, which is actually pretty cool. And they've added more features to makeup and hair for your Memoji. Also, obviously they added AirPods, which is it's pretty dumb in my opinion, but hey, some people might like it, right? I barely use my Memoji, but maybe I'll use it more now that I check out this stuff. Alright, now for iPadOS. Yep, that's right, I said iPadOS. They basically branched off iOS and created a new operating system they call iPadOS, where they're going to just use that obviously for iPads. And it looks very similar to iOS, but I think in the future they're slowly going to branch it off into a separate operating system, more kind of like Mac, because the iPad seems to go into a desktop section. And they added on the iPad, you can now put widgets on your home screen, which is actually really cool. And they had a whole ton of features, you could put 2 notes things next to each other on the screen. They had a whole segment on iPad OS. You should go watch that. I can't go over everything on that in this video, but I'll point out the main stuff right now. For iPadOS, they introduced desktop class internet browsing, Safari browsing. And basically what that does is just that's what you would see on desktop Safari on your iPad, so you won't get like mobile versions of Safari on your iPad. And there was a lot that came with that. There's now a download manager, more like a desktop. So if you download stuff on the internet, you can manage it there, delete and whatever. And they also changed the Files app a lot too. You can now plug in USB drives, USB-C, obviously. And you can plug in USB drives or SD cards that have a USB-C dongle or whatever, like converter. And you can actually use those USBs with the iPad. Now the iPad will recognize them more like a computer, like I said. And I think that's really cool. Finally, you're able to do that. And yeah. Quick side note, just learned you can use a mouse with the iPad too now, so that's always it's really going into a desktop like area. The iPad's moving more from tablet to desktop, so we'll see how that ends up with the Mac. Alright, finally on to the Mac Pro. Jeez. This is the one everyone was hoping would happen, and it did. It did alright. It looks like a cheese grater, but it happened. And I have the specs here because there's no way I'm going to remember all these. So, dang, look, just look at this really quick. I have this open, thanks 9 to 5 Mac, but there's just a whole ton of stuff, and there's more above it too. So first thing you need to know is, why did they do this with the RAM? When you think of RAM, you usually think, oh, 16 gigabytes is a good amount of RAM, 32 is pretty good. Someone has 64, that's usually desktop computers for editing, or anything above that, 128, whatever. The Mac Pro can have 1.5 terabytes of RAM. Terabytes. That's more storage than most people have in their computers. Most regular storage. That's just crazy. And here it says 300 watts of power, runs fully unconstrained. 8 internal PCI slots. Let's see. Oh, the processor. Intel Xeon. Up to 28 cores. That's a little bit excessive, but okay. And you can have a Radeon Pro Vega 2 graphics card. Not bad. And you also, it says you have 2 GPUs connected together using this thing called the Infinity Fabric Link. What else? Sorry, I'm just reading this stuff because there's so much. Now, alongside the new Mac Pro, they released a crazy spec display called the Pro Display XDR. And let me tell you, it's 32 inches, 6K resolution, 6K, not 4K or 8K, 6K, very interesting. And what else? It has a resolution of 6016 by 3384. So that's, wow. Oh, here it says has 20 million pixels and 218 ppi. Wow. So I when I saw this in the keynote, I was like, this is like crazy. And it also has, it's able to stay at 1000 nits of brightness, like indefinitely, without burning out the screen or anything. They have like the little holes on the back. I'll put a picture here to show you. The little holes on the back are to like cool out the like the LCD, because it's a LCD screen, not an OLED. So basically, that was a basic recap of the entire. It's like a 3-hour event or 2.5-hour event. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you're still watching, I applaud you, because this is probably gonna be a really long video. But if you like what you see, I mean, check out my channel below, and I'll be making new videos. You can check out my old videos, and thank you. Leave a like and subscribe, and peace out.